This is VFL weekly wrap for round 20, the second last round. Interesting week. I went to 3 games, but first of all, the other 5 games, just to run through. Geelong defeated Essendon by 14 points at Cardinia Park. 10-13, 73 to 9-5, 59. For Geelong, George Stevens, he's had a good year. 32 possessions, 11 clearances. Essendon have now lost 11 in a row. Geelong's late surge, they've won 3 of the last 4. Now, battle for top spot at Box Hill City Oval. Saw Footscray knock off Box Hill by 19 points. 11-7, 73 to 7-12, 54. No stats of... Nothing just stood out in terms of stats or players. Footscray have won their last 10 games now, and they are equal top with Box Hill now. Box Hill's 2 of their 3 losses has been at home. Now, Saturday night at Frankston Oval, the TV game saw Richmond easily beat Sandringham by 41 points. 18-7, 115 to 11-8, 74. Strangely, Sandringham had 16 more inside 50s, 23 more clearances, but it didn't do them any good. Now for Richmond, Jacob Kaczynski, he kicked 4 goals, 27 possessions, 26 hit-outs, 8 clearances. For Sandy, Jack Carroll, 34 possessions, 13 clearances. And the ruckman for Sandy, Alex Dodson, 31 possessions, 41 hit-outs. A good win there for Richmond, which keeps their top 6 position alive. Now, at Ipswich, interesting game this. Casey knocked off Brisbane by 4 points, 12-11, 83 to 11-13, 79. For Brisbane, Oscar McInerney, 23 possessions, a goal, 26 hit-outs, 13 clearances. For Melbourne, Casey, Mitch Hardy, he kicked the go-ahead goal at the 32.5-minute mark of the last quarter. I actually watched the highlights of the last 15 minutes there. It was a remarkable finish. Now for Brisbane, Curtis McCarthy, he got a free kick, and then as he was lining up, the siren went, had a chance to be a hero. He had an easy shot from 20 metres out after the siren to win it, and hooked the ball. Could be a costly miss that in the wash-up. Casey get their 4th win in a row. Casey have been involved in 6 games decided by under 10 points. That's a bad loss for Brisbane. That one just got away from them. A Sunday at Arden Street, Frankston knocked off North Melbourne by 12 points, 13-12, 90 to 12-6, 78. For North Melbourne, Will Phillips, 22 possessions, 10 tackles, 10 clearances. Frankston, even contribution. They are flying right now. They're in 4th position. They've won their last 7. North Melbourne, what is going on now? What is going on down there? They have lost their last 6 games. They can't make finals officially. And they've lost their last 4 at Arden Street. An absolute disaster for them. Alright. I went to 3 games. The first one was at Chirnside Park between the grand finals of last year, Southport Werribee. In the end, Southport were just too good for Werribee, winning by 13 points, 12-8, 80 to 9-13, 67. Werribee 4 goals, 2 in the first quarter. Sharks managed to kick 5 goals, 2 in the second. This is where the game was won for Southport. 5 goals free to 3 behinds in the third quarter. Werribee had a good last quarter, but it was too late. 3 goals, 5 to 3 points. Major goal kickers for Southport, Wiley Buzzer, Zach Foot, Josh Gore kicked 2 each. For Werribee, Jay Dowhouse, 3 goals. Possessions, Jacob Dawson, 29 possessions. Zach Foot, 24 possessions, 2 goals. They had an even contribution, Southport. For Werribee, Jack Riding, 27 possessions, 7 clearances. Louis Pinnock, 24 possessions, 14 marks. Don Brood, 23 possessions, 13 tackles, 9 clearances. Werribee kicked the last 3 goals of the first quarter and opened up a 2-goal lead at quarter time. But then the Sharks came out blazing, kicked 5 in a row in the second quarter. But the third quarter by Werribee was absolutely horrendous. They just didn't play. They didn't come out. Southport were ready and they got him. Southport led by 33 points at 3-quarter time and it was pretty much over. Werribee had a good last quarter, but again, wasting chances, missing goals. That's been the story this season. They just can't convert. They desperately need another forward and a good midfielder, I think, for next year. Look, Werribee gave up far too many easy goals again. Their style is not working. It's been an absolute disaster for them this year. They just keep chipping the ball sideways. Possession football. It doesn't work. It's not going to work in 2025. I know they've lost a lot of players, but that's just an excuse. They're just... Mate, I don't think Southport played that well, to be honest. I just think it was just one of those scrappy, hard-fought games between two standalones. It was like an arm wrestle. It wasn't spectacular by any means. And Werribee just made Southport look good. Werribee tried hard, but they've had a miserable season because they ended up with just 2 wins and 7 losses at home at Chirnside Park. That is horrible. And they lost their last 6. Sharks, they still haven't lost to Werribee at Chirnside Park. They're 3-0 now. They beat them twice this year. They've won 3 of the last 4 against them as well. The one they lost was the one that counted the grand final where Werribee won. It was Werribee's players Bjorn Mullerwell's 100th game, so he's a life member. Congratulations to him, been a good servant. I think I've said enough about Werribee. It was a very good crowd there actually. Nice, beautiful sunny day on Saturday. Nice sunny day in Melbourne. Very nice. Excellent crowd, good atmosphere, but fans left disappointed. Alright, enough of that. I went to 2 games on Sunday. The first one was at Princes Park. I saw Carlton beat Gold Coast by 24 points. 12-16-88 to 9-10-64. Carlton 2 goals to 1 in the first quarter. Well, it was pretty much over at half time. Look at the second quarter. Carlton 4 goals 6 to 2 behinds. Then they kicked another 5-2 in the third. Suns came out blazing, but it was too late. 6 goals to 1 in the last. For Carlton, Sterling, Phipps, Parsons kicked 3. Luke Nelson and Darcy Hogg kicked 2 each. For the Suns, Caleb Lewis and Luke Chapman kicked 2 each. The possessions for Carlton, Heath Ramshaw, 28 possessions and a goal. Eli Hollands, 25 possessions, 9 marks and a goal. Mitch McGovern, 21 possessions, 10 marks. Darcy Hogg, he's going to be a good player, this bloke. Watch out for him. 23 possessions, 2 goals. For Gold Coast, Jake Rogers, 29 possessions, 7 tackles, 8 clearances. Leonardo Lombard, 26 possessions. Ned Mulder-Ruckman, 19 possessions, a goal, 30 headouts, 11 clearances. Cal Blues, 11 kicks. He had 11 possessions, they were all kicks, and he took 11 marks and kicked 2 goals. So every time he marked the ball, he kicked it. That's incredible. Like, Carlton just dominated this game. Gold Coast were only 1 goal 6 at half time. They were terrible. Carlton led by 60 points 9 minutes into last quarter, and then they just stopped. And Gold Coast decided to play some football, and they kicked the last 6 goals to drop it down to 4 goals. They kicked the last 6 goals, including a period where they slammed on 5 goals in 8 minutes. was a good crowd there. Magnificent day on Sunday. Ground in unbelievable condition. Mate, it was a nice day for football. Carlton get a morale boosting win. And then down the road I went to Coburg City Oval. 2 standalones. Saw a thriller. Coburg beat Port Melbourne by 18 points. 13-12-90 to 10-12-72. Coburg 5 goals 3 to 2 goals 7 at quarter time. Port Melbourne 3 goals 2 in the second quarter. Port Melbourne 3 goals 2 to 2-5 in the third. And Coburg 4-1 to 2-2 in the last. For Coburg, Mitch Pajaski, he should have kicked 7 or 8. He kicked 5 goals, 5 behinds. Braden Gillard kicked 2. For the Borough, Archie Manton, Charlie Clark, and Dom Bedendo kicked 2 each. Possessions, Jack Bytel, 31 possessions. Donovan Tui, 29. Lachlan Walker, 28. Joel Trudden, 25 possessions, a goal, 9 tackles, 7 clearances. Flynn Gentile, 21 possessions, a goal and 9 tackles. For the Borough, Dawson Heppel, 31 possessions, 8 marks. Tom Hurd, 26 possessions, 14 tackles. Harvey Hooper, the skipper, 25 possessions, 7 tackles. Coburg had 50 more possessions, 10 more inside 50s, free kicks, 28-27. Mate, the umpiring, they just over-officiated that game. It was horrible. Horrible umpiring. They don't like to pay holding the ball around the neck or push. They just want to give stupid technical ones and stupid out of bounds. Stupid deliberates. Poor umpiring. Coburg kicked the first 4 goals. Pajaski kicked 4 goals in the first quarter. He was running hot. Coburg were 23 points up 7 minutes in the third quarter. Then Port Melbourne kicked 3 goals. Then Port kicked 2 goals in the last quarter to lead by 6 points at 12-minute mark, and it looked like it was done. Curtains for Coburg. There was no score for 8 minutes. Then the first gamer, Luke Calvey, he looks like he's a good player for Coburg. He kicked the goal to level the scores. Then 2 minutes later, Gillard kicked the goal. Then 5 minutes later, Matt Ellison kicked one from outside 50 and the place erupted. And then a minute later, Gentile kicked another one. They kicked the last 4 goals in 9 minutes. They were on fire, Coburg. As I said, some of the umpiring was too technical. Port Melbourne's indiscipline cost them dearly. They had Coburg on the ropes and then they faded out yet again. They're still looking for their 100th win against Coburg. Coburg's won the last 3 against them, head-to-head. Port 99, 72 for Coburg. Coburg's in the 10. There's still finals chance. Like I said, Port Melbourne is the one that got away. There was a lot of mistakes in that game. It was a great crowd. Excellent. Like a picnic atmosphere. It was brilliant. And that's all you want to see. I could go on about this game, but it was an absolute cracking last 10-15 minutes of that game. Alright, to wrap things up, the ladder, Box Hill and Footscray equal top. Box Hill lead by 4.3%, so if Footscray can get a big enough win, they'll finish top. Sharks are 50, they got top 4 sewn up. Now, Frankston are 48, Brisbane, Collingwood, Richmond are 44, Casey 42, GWS 40, Coburg are 36. They're hanging in there now. They're 105%. They're 1.6% ahead of Williamstown. So Williamstown have to win next week, in the coming week, to replace them. Geelong are 32. Carlton 32. Geelong will have to win by 20 goals in their last game if they want to replace Coburg and hope Williamstown lose. North are out. Suns, Werribee, Port, Sydney, Sandy, Essendon, Bull Ants. Less said the better. Now, Saturday, the final round, round 21. Coburg has the bye. 5 on Saturday, 5 games on Sunday. Sharks against North Melbourne. I'll be going to Northern Bull Ants, Werribee. Port Melbourne, Collingwood. Sandringham, Essendon fighting for third last on the ladder. Suns against GWS. Sunday, Sydney, Geelong. Footscray, Carlton. Casey, Box Hill's a big one. Frankston, Brisbane, that's for 4th spot. Williamstown, Richmond. That is to see. That's a massive game. Williamstown win, they make the finals. They lose, they're out. I don't know which game I'm going to. It's going to be an absolute ball burster of a final round. It is not over yet. I'll see you next time.